Welcome to the Messenger-Inquirer Gridiron Report, sponsored by Crandall's Home Furnishings and Carpets Unlimited. I'm Messenger-Inquirer sports editor Scott Hagerman, and with me is Messenger-Inquirer sports writer Jim Pickens. And Jim, this is a week where I think we're really going to get a feel for what direction teams are going to be going in maybe the rest of the season this week.
I agree with you, Scott. I think this is a pivotal week in a lot of ways. I think what happens after 3 weeks, you kind of know you've changed what you've needed to change. You've tried to fix what needed to be fixed, and now whatever you've got, and you've got to deliver. And this is the week for several teams, I think, to deliver if they're going to.
There's no question. There's a lot of games on the docket that are real marquee matchups. Really, if you look at the marquee-ness of everything, Bowling Green coming into Owensboro is the real marquee game. 2 top 5 teams in 5A, but the game that a lot of our followers are going to be interested in, no doubt, is Owensboro Catholic coming into Apollo this weekend.
Absolutely.
That's the real city game. And right now we're going to look at an interview you did with Apollo coach Paul Bates earlier this week.
Okay, we're out here with Apollo head football coach Paul Bates as the Eagles get ready to take on Owensboro Catholic this week in a big city-county battle. And Coach Bates, you've had a week off. You had your open date this past week. Talk a little bit about some of the preparation you've had. You're going to have 2 weeks to prepare for Catholic, and talk a little bit about what this team has done in that time.
Well, we were able to heal up, number one. We had a lot of injuries going into the Memorial game and then again into the Warren Central. So to me, that was the biggest thing, is we had to get some injuries put behind us a little bit. And then we also got an opportunity just to kind of fine-tune what we had in. We really didn't expand what we were putting in because we had some difficulties at certain situations, and I think a lot of that was due to the injuries too. Mm-hmm. And so I think they go hand in hand. So we just got better at what we do, and then also healed up. And that was our game plan going into this the off week, and then really the preparation for Catholic started this week. They run kind of the same offense we do, so we're going to be pretty familiar with some of the plays that they run. So we just wanted to get better at what we do and, worry about Catholic later.
Okay. Talk a little bit about, I know that typically when high school coaches have an off week, sometimes you just get back to the basic fundamentals. And I know you guys were coming off a really tough loss at Warren Central, 48-7. That was something that did not please you. I know that. And what were you when you came back to practice, what were some of the fundamental aspects that you wanted to get this team back to?
Well, basically it was just blocking, tackling, and throwing and catching,
Mm-hmm.
and that's exactly what we did. We did some drills to increase our competition, and we had kind of strayed away from that a little bit, and so we got back to the basics and just did some board drills with them,
mm-hmm.
and worked on our technique and did some toughness drills and things like that. Kind of pushed them a little bit, and going into the season, you don't really. You hope you got enough in spring or in the summer practices that you don't have to come out and really bang them around a little bit. But, we thought coming out of that Warren Central game that we needed to go ahead and do a little bit of that during the off week. And I think you can ask anybody on the team, coaches, players, managers, I think they all saw that it paid off. It was a great off week for us.
That's good. Talk about, we're going to switch gears a little bit here. Talk about Owensboro Catholic. They're obviously improved over last year. They only won 3 games all of last year. They've already won 3 this year in just 4 outings. What stands out about the Aces when you think about them and when you, as a coach, prepare for them?
Well, I think the running backs are a little bit quicker than they were last year. Their quarterback is a lot more mature. I think that they're an improvement over last year's, and I think defensively, they're flying around to the football again. They changed their defensive scheme up a little bit. Went to a more 4-man front than a 3-man front, and I'm just thinking that. For them, they just kind of went back to what was best for them, but offensively, I think it's all about those running backs. I think they, really the whole backfield, they really make it go, and then you got 2 solid wide receivers to throw the ball. It's really 3 with the Brett kid at tight end. So, they're just they're the same team as last year. They're just older, wiser, quicker, faster. And it shows. You can tell it on film. We've seen them live a couple times too, and they're a much better football team.
Okay. We appreciate it, Coach Bates, and good luck to you and the Eagles this week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, Jim Paul's very optimistic, and you know, he should be. Kids need to hear that from the coach, that he's optimistic. Bottom line is, though, Owensboro Catholic comes in 3-1 off a huge win over South Spencer. Apollo 1-2. They did have the week off to really focus in on Owensboro Catholic. What do you see in this one?
Well, I think it's a tough matchup for Apollo. I think Owensboro Catholic sort of regained its footing, its confidence against South Spencer. One thing that needs to be noted, Scott, is that they gave up 21 points in the first half against South Spencer and then completely shut down a very good Rebel offense. I mean, South Spencer's offense is very good, and Owensboro Catholic made some adjustments and shut them down. And that tells me that their defense is beginning to come on just like their offense has been here all season.
Well, and that's what concerns me if I'm Apollo, is Catholic's defense is looking pretty good. And Apollo's only scored 9 points their last 2 games. As you said earlier, 1 offensive touchdown.
That's correct.
In 8 quarters doesn't exactly bode well for your offense.
That's
so
right.
I've got some concerns if I'm Apollo.
Yeah, I think this is a pivotal game for both teams, more so for Apollo.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the really big one from a state perspective, and that's Bowling Green coming into Rash Stadium to play Owensboro. Owensboro's ranked number 5 in 5A. Bowling Green's ranked number 2 in 5A. Bowling Green's undefeated. Owensboro has the 1 loss. Bowling Green beat them twice last year, including the playoffs. Every type of momentum and revenge aspect, everything's playing into Owensboro. The home field, can Owensboro get it done against the Purples?
Well, it'll be difficult. I think that they have a chance to get it done. Anytime Owensboro plays at Rash Stadium, you can't count them out. That's such a tradition-rich place to play. They feel good there. But this is going to be a very testy game for them because Bowling Green has so many weapons on both sides of the ball, Scott. They can hurt you in ways that are intangible. And what I mean by that is that they can score off interceptions, fumble returns, kick returns, every which way. You know, they've got so much talent both on offense, defense, and special teams that just completely shutting that down just usually isn't going to happen. They're a high-powered offense, and their defense is excellent. They've only given up 14 points all year.
Well, and those 14 came last week against Warren East, and I would say the Purples maybe took it a little bit easier on Warren East with the coaching relationship involved there.
Right.
That's my question is, can Owensboro do enough offensively against this type of defense? I think that's the biggest question for me.
I agree.
And then what about, how much can you read into matchups as far as Bowling Green beat DC 66-0 in the opener. Owensboro beat DC last week 35-0.
Right.
Can you compare scores, or do you feel like you can't compare scores?
I'm not too big on that just because of the tenor of each game is different, and I just think that they both were dominant in their games against Daviess County, and I don't think that you can read too much into that. I just think that Bowling Green is really on a roll, and Owensboro will have to play a highly efficient game. I think they'll have to play their best game by far of the year to win this game.
Is it too much to say this is for the district title with Christian sitting out there, or do you feel like probably whoever wins this game shapes up to be, well, I'm sorry, this is not a district game. I don't know what I mean.
That's right.
I'm thinking as far as the dominant team in the district, does this establish that person as the dominant team in the region?
Right, in our region.
In that area?
Yeah, I think that it goes a long way to it because I think that the winner of this game is going to believe they're the best in this region, and that's what gets in kids' heads. And
right.
I mean, they carry that with them all year. So then, if they meet a team in the playoffs, you know, they believe they can beat them because they beat them before, and that does go a long way.
I think that's where it sets up is the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just is a huge advantage going into the playoffs, as we saw Bowling Green kind of, I think, capitalize on that last year.
Last year, that's right.
Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back in 30 seconds and look at the rest of the games this weekend.